I recently got these motorized smart shades from SmartWings, and this has really been a game changer for my living room and my home in general. Now at this point, I've had these up for several weeks now, and I definitely have a lot to share with you in this video, both regarding the actual shades themselves, but also some recommendations from my experience so you don't make any mistakes when purchasing. But with all that said, let's get started. Now for full disclosure, SmartWings was kind enough to send these shades out to me to cover here on the channel. This is actually my first experience ever using smart shades, so I didn't know exactly what to expect. Obviously, I knew that you'd be able to open and close these without actually doing anything manually, but beyond that, I wasn't sure how loud they'd be, how long it would take to open them or close them, or how difficult or easy the installation would actually be. Now, if you go on SmartWings' website, they give you a ton of different options. There's lots of different styles available as well, so there's really something for everybody. Now, these are double cell light filtering shades, which is what I was looking for my living room. So I didn't want things to be completely blacked out because I still wanted natural light, and as you can see, there is plenty of natural light making its way into my living room. Right now it's about 4:30 in the afternoon, so I'm not getting direct intense sunlight. It's also a little bit cloudy outside right now, but even during those super sunny days, I feel like these shades are that perfect balance between allowing light to enter my living room, but at the same time not being too much light. And also, these have helped a ton with keeping the heat out of my living room as well, and especially compared to before where I had nothing because I recently moved into this house, it was just not a good experience. So even if you don't factor in the motorized aspect of these shades, they're just very good shades in general. They do their job, and they are made out of high quality material. Now the walls in my living room are painted in white. It's not any sort of variation either. It's just white, and same thing with the shades. So you can see here that everything matches really well, which is super important to me. So making a decision on the exact style of shades that you want is the first choice you have to make. But then from there are various different smart technologies offered by SmartWings. I was actually very impressed to see how many options there actually are, but at the same time, I can see how that might be confusing for some people. Now at the absolute entry level, you can go with an option that just gives you the ability to use the remote, and that's it. So there's no connectivity to the internet, there's no way that you can actually open or close them with a smart speaker or your smartphones or anything like that. So if you want to go that route, that's not a problem. The remote is really good. That has actually worked out very well. I do have this remote mounted on my wall. But as someone who is a techie and also likes convenience and also wants to plan for the future, I did want to go for the option that gave me the most abilities. So the choice I made is to go for the smart shades that are powered by Matter. Now, if you're not familiar with Matter, it's basically a universal standard that's accepted by all the various smart home platforms. So as things change into the future, I personally have a lot of confidence that Matter will remain kind of the standard because it is actually accepted by everybody. So I personally would spend a little bit extra money to make sure that your smart shades are actually powered on the Matter standard. So it's really cool that it is offered by SmartWings, and it also made the setup process very easy as well. I believe there is one other option that is technically a little bit more advanced where you can actually have these powered by Ethernet, but I don't have Ethernet going to my windows and all that in my home. Maybe if you're building a custom home, you might be able to add that in, but that's way too advanced. So for me at least, I went with the standard Matter option. Now you might be in a certain smart home ecosystem, whether that's Apple or Amazon or Google. For me at least, I actually have all three platforms here in my home because I'm constantly testing out different things. But I feel like if you go for Matter instead of picking a certain platform, then at least if you want to switch things up in the future, you don't have to buy all new smart shades or blinds, and that's really not a realistic option considering that you're making a big investment here when adding this into your home. Now another decision I made is to have them be charged via just USB-C. Now there is also an option to add in solar panels. I chose not to go for that just because I feel like USB-C charging on its own is actually very convenient, and I just didn't really like how I saw other videos about the shades having the solar panel just on the outside. I feel like it's a little bit ugly when viewing it from outside of the home. But I suppose if you are, for some reason, putting your smart shades or blinds in a location that's hard to reach, especially to charge, then maybe you would actually want to go for the solar panel. But I'm just letting you know, based off my experience, I can only tell you about how things were from my perspective, and I did not add in the solar panel. But at the same time, I've been very impressed with the battery life so far. In fact, I haven't even had to charge these at all since installing them. And what's cool too is that if you do set these up via Apple Home, you can actually view through there the exact battery percentage left on these shades. Now, since I am planning on charging these blinds via USB-C, the process is actually very simple because the USB-C port is literally right here on the outside. Now, these blinds are very high up because these are actually 70-inch windows, but you can see up here, or you might not be able to see because it's so small, the USB-C port is right up there. And my plan in the future when I'm gonna charge these is that I'm just gonna take a power bank, and then I have a very long USB-C cable in my collection. So I'm just gonna plug one end, of course, into the power bank and then the other end into the blinds themselves, and then just go from window to window, and then eventually make sure that everything's charged up. But that's really not a problem. That's very convenient. I'm glad that I don't have to actually take batteries and pull batteries out and put new ones in. That would be very frustrating. And combining the very good battery life that you're getting with these, along with the fact that you can charge via USB-C, I feel like is really nice. Now you have to keep in mind too that your battery life on these blinds is going to depend on how often you are opening them and closing them. And in reality, I assumed that I wouldn't be opening and closing them very often, but I'm certainly not doing that on a daily basis. I mean, the reality is I'm busy most days, I'm out and about, and yeah, definitely there are times where I do want these to be opened. And when that is the case, being able to use a remote or a voice command to do so is really convenient. Otherwise, I feel like I'd never even open these at all. So I definitely feel like having these be motorized is a game changer and so worth it. But just understand that your battery life that you're going to be getting out of these, or at least how long you have to go from charge to charge, definitely depends on how often you are opening them and closing them. And you might even set a routine where they open and close on a daily basis. If that's the case, then just be prepared to charge them a bit more often than you typically would. But I do feel like in reality, most people won't be opening and closing them every day. And there really is a lot of simplicity with this design here. So if you open up the top flap, there are really just two things there. There's the USB-C port, and then there's also a button for the pairing. And I'm used to, in many situations, these pairing buttons being very unreliable, but the reality is that's not the case here. I was very easily able to put them in the mode, so I was able to connect my Apple Home platform to these. It was pretty much near instant. In fact, since it is a Matter device, that makes things even faster. And I did see someone else's review, and I'm glad they mentioned it, but they said that you must absolutely make sure you capture the QR code in the top because it's nowhere else. But it looks like since then they might have made a change because there is a QR code on the bottom of the blinds. So you can very easily find that code. You just literally scan that and then it loads it into your Apple Home app. And if you're using Android, then you have Google Home, but you get the idea. But with all of that out of the way, let's actually open these. Hey Siri, open the shades. And look at that, they're opening up just with a quick and simple voice command. And the speed is actually pretty good as well, and they're literally going up in sync. It's really cool. And I just love how well these work, honestly. Like, it's just a nice tech product that was easy to install, very intuitive, very simple, but also very effective here. You can, of course, pause things halfway through or let them open up completely, but they just literally work as advertised. So I guess kind of as a summary of this review in general, it's a good product because it does what they say it's supposed to do. There's just really nothing wrong with these blinds. They just get the job done, honestly. And the QR code is right here on the bottom, by the way. So during the setup process, all you do is literally scan that with your device. It will load it into your smart home platform, and then from there, it's all connected on your phone. And I've got the remote here, so the remote is also very good. The pairing process is very easy, as I mentioned, but what's cool too is that this is a 5-channel remote. And what that means is that each channel is its own smart shade. Now, you do have the ability to put multiple shades on one channel, but for my purposes, I just want to make sure that I had each one on its own channel. Now, in this room, there is one more shade over there on the side, and I have basically one channel for each shade. So the left and right buttons here allow me to pick which channel I want. So I'm gonna do channel 2. I'm gonna tap on the down button, and then as you can see, it is now lowering the shade. So it is super easy to use. It makes a lot of sense. And yeah, it's very convenient. Now, for each individual shade, it is gonna come with its own remote. And the truth is that for the other remotes, I just ended up throwing them away because I don't need more than one remote. I did keep an extra backup one, but I don't need 4 remotes. And this middle button does allow you to pause things. Now let's talk about installation, because that is very important and potentially installation could be frustrating for you. Now first, the measurements here. Now SmartWings does give you exact directions on how to actually measure to make sure everything fits. And I'll be honest, there was some anxiety there. I was hoping that my measurements were right. I was hoping that everything would show up in the proper size here. I was really hoping that my shades wouldn't arrive and then I would put them here into this windowsill and it would be off by an inch or so, but that was just not the reality. It's a perfect fit. And all I did was literally measure from one end of the windowsill to the other, and then that's it. That's the measurement I submitted, and that's the final result that I got here. So everything just fit perfectly. Now these windows, at least these two, are 70 by 70. So these are really big windows. And this is actually a very large smart shade that's going in here. So I was a bit nervous about how smart shades would interact basically with a window this large. And the truth is that it's perfectly fine. Now when it comes to weight, the entire device is actually not that heavy. I was concerned that since there is so much motorized equipment and tech in here, that it would be really heavy, but it's just not. It's not heavy. For my mounting process, I did mount directly up in the windowsill, and I am lucky. I didn't have to use any drywall anchors. There was hard wood material in there that I was able to actually drill into very easily, so it's not coming off or anything. But the actual shades, the whole apparatus here, actually isn't that heavy, so if you are worried about the weight of it or these falling out, I mean, the installation I did, it's not even close to falling out. There's just no way it will. Now for this width, there are 3 brackets that were sent to me. And basically I have one bracket in the middle, one on the right side and one on the left side. So once those brackets were in, it was super easy just to snap this in, and then from there, I was all good to go. So you do need to drill some pilot holes though when you're putting in the brackets. I tried to do it initially without drilling any holes, and that turned out really bad. I got pretty frustrated. So I did have a drill with drill bits. I was able to drill some pilot holes and then successfully install these shades. And then since these shades aren't super heavy, I was able to do this completely on my own. It was a little bit of a balancing act when snapping them into the brackets, but since the shades aren't that heavy, that definitely helped a lot with that. Now this other shade over here is 28 by 70, so this was a lot easier to install just because it is literally smaller here, but kind of the same concept. Everything fit perfect when I sent in my measurements and got my delivery, so there's just no complaints, no issues when it came to that. So here's my iPhone, and when pulling down the tab here for the quick toggles, you can see that some of my blinds are available on here. Now this is completely customizable, but you can see that I have several of them here, so I can go there and then I can close it, as you can see, from the convenience of my smartphone. And then here's the full Apple Home app, so I can see all my various blinds here. I did actually label these blinds 1, 2, 3, and 4, just that I know which one is which. I can tap here to get a full view of how exactly I want them to be opened. So right now it is set to 40%. I can adjust it slightly if I want it a little bit further down. So it is very customizable here. And then from there, I can go over to the gear icon for the settings, and I get even more information, including the current battery level. You can see it is at 46%, and in fact, when I first set this up, it wasn't even at 100%. So I think it's gone down from like 55% to 46% in several weeks, which really is not bad at all. But if I did want to add this to the quick toggle here, I can put it in my favorites. So there's a lot of different customizations you can make with the Apple Home platform. And then if you have a HomePod, then you can use that device to do various voice commands. And then all the other smart home platforms work the exact same way. So in conclusion, I am super happy with my motorized smart shades by SmartWings. As I've mentioned throughout this video, these work exactly as advertised. That's what's most important, and especially when you're making a big investment in your home. So again, these have completely transformed how things are in my living room, whether it's how easy they are to open and close, or just the fact that they're able to really diffuse light and filter out light so that it's just a comfortable living space here. So thank you, SmartWings, for everything. This has been a great experience. I'm really happy with these, and this is certainly a company that I trust and I would personally buy stuff from. Now, if you are looking to get your own smart shades, I do have a link in the video description, so you can go there to check out their website and see everything they have to offer, but just beware, they have a lot on their site. They have tons of different options. There really is something for everyone, so definitely spend a bit of time to look around for a bit and get those perfect shades or blinds for your home.